Welcome. Today, we're going to be covering the background and the RK ability of our newest Descendant, Nell. Starting right off, we're going to read her background story, and then we're going to her exclusive RK, Breach Entropy Control, and then once we have finished that, we're going to go look through other stuff in the game to look for even more details on Nell and her history. This one's going to be quite long, as she has quite a few paragraphs in her background story, so strap in, get some popcorn or something, mate. Starting. Nell Hathaway was already irreplaceable as a capable executive officer of Albion headquarters and a tactical operator who directly relayed most of the operations she was in charge of. She was the envy of the staff cadets, and her strategic judgment was already considered to have surpassed Alpha. But the more indispensable she became, the more Nell doubted her identity. She had all but forgotten the existence of her family, who had rationally forced her out to join the academy so that they would have one less mouth to feed. Even when she heard that contact with her family was lost after they moved to Albion, she felt devoid of emotion. She believed her life began the moment she was selected to serve as an executive officer of Albion headquarters. She felt that her family was Alpha, the Descendants, and the soldiers of Albion. In fact, Nell's operations prioritized survival over success, and many trusted and followed her because of it. Nell's tactics were often seen as the product of her acting as a protective family member, not an executive officer. I won't abandon them. I won't drive them out. That belief turned to doubt when she had to decide between which family members would die and which would live. If she left 10 family members to die, 100 more could live. In order to save another 1,000 family members, she had to sacrifice 50 others. As an executive officer, she was abandoning more people than the Hathaway family, whose existence had all but faded from her memories, ever did. Her tactical choices were nothing more than a coin toss, and were making her sacrifice more of her family members with each passing day. Was I really part of their family? Wasn't I just another Hathaway making a rational choice? She wanted to gather her thoughts, but she lacked the mental fortitude. Even if she wanted to lie down and rest, the prescribed sleep hours allotted to executive officers had long been taken away by the screams of soldiers who died during operations. When those doubts led her to her worst accident, Nell finally faced her true self. Her inner doubts had always been there. She had always doubted over her own worth, but she had always been able to prove it. While she doubted she could ever save them all, she knew that she could save the rest. She even doubted that she deserved to be loved, so she prioritized her loved ones. So her doubts became an abyss that reached from the ends of her mind and yielded her RK as a result. Nell resolved to embrace that part of her. Since belief in victory can come from the doubts of defeat, she vowed to become someone who believed in doubts and to use the advantage of them. So as you can tell, there isn't that much of her actual history. It talks more specifically about her time as a executive officer and then becoming a Descendant. Now, there will be more to talk about her actual background and stuff like that in the journals and stuff, but however, I wanted to cover her... Wow, I can't speak. I want to cover her exclusive RK, Breach Entropy Control, for a second, and then once we're done with that, we'll go back and we will look through and find some journals, and I will read them out. So, starting on her paragraph for her exclusive RK Breach Entropy Control, it reads as follows. The Vulgus have used the term dimension as a unit of boundaries that divide the void, ingress, and a range of other worlds that exist. This was passed on to humanity through the Magisters and is one of the few concepts that the two factions share. The term breach, which refers to damage done to the dimensional wall, is also a common concept between the factions. But there is a difference that exists between the Vulgus and humanity and how they approach it. While the Vulgus artificially create breaches to tear down the dimensional wall, humanity replaces the broken dimensional wall with RK and uses the replaced breach entropy as a weapon against their enemy. Of course, Nell is still the only human who can use it that way. She has a little quote now. So you've always had a lot of doubts. So I trust that When given such great power, you'll use it carefully. Alpha, handing Nell her appointment as Chief Executive Officer. Now, this section covers more about like the lore of the breaches, what's quite cool, over the actual ability itself. Other than just saying that, she can use it, was, kind of a nothing burger, to be entirely honest. But I still think it's a neat little bit of like detailing that we didn't previously have, and something as small as that is still nice to get because it adds levels to history. So, I'm going to quickly cover her 3 outfits in the game, since they don't have much description, however it's worth mentioning. So starting off with her default Descendant outfit, it reads, HQ's field combat uniform that has been modified to fit Nell's RK. Nice and simple. It literally just covers what she's wearing. Well, as you would know, isn't that much. It's kind of just like a turtleneck sweater, some like, I don't even know what type of trousers they are, some heels, and her trench coat. I think she looks really, really cool. I think the only thing that I kind of like dislike about it is I think it's kind of like, I don't think it really fits Nell as a character. However, her having like darker abilities and stuff, it does actually make sense. Next, I want to talk about her tactical field officer uniform. What is her like, to be honest, kind of like pirate looking one. It's the one that you can pay for in the shop, I believe. Which states, a specially crafted uniform for Albion officers to wear during field operations. It emphasizes mobility and comfort, ensuring even executive officers with limited field experience can operate without hindrance. It definitely emphasizes something. I can definitely tell you that. Holy shite, man. Goddamn. Yeah, it looks kind of like piratey. I'm kind of like a fan of this outfit. I just would never pay like the £15 for it. Next, we have her Operations Executive Officer uniform. So the uniform that she wears when you meet her, whenever she's in HQ, and the outfit that she wears pretty much throughout the entire story until she eventually, redacted. I don't want to say because this is I don't want to spoil the season 3 story in case you haven't finished it. To which this outfit reads as follows: a uniform issued to Operations Executive Officers at HQ. Based on Albion standard military uniform, it includes a range of equipment such as comms device, mount, and a standard issue handgun holster, along with a crisp shirt. This is a very, very basic outfit. You would have seen it a million times if you just play this game at literally any point in your entire life. Basically, every single NPC is wearing this in Albion. So, yeah, that covers a bit more about her. That covers, obviously, her outfits, her who's my what's it, as you would say, and her who's my what's it. What am I on about? Okay, Jesus. And then her, like, her outfits. One subtle little thing I'm going to quickly throw out there as well is because there is a couple hairstyles. Most of these hairstyles are kind of nothing. One of them just says, like, how it's, like, styled. One of them just says, like, it's like an outfit that she wears while serving. And then one of them I do want to mention about is her bold change one, what is black hair with 2 purple streaks through. To which it reads, the hairstyle Nell tried after she finally awakened her RK in an attempt to transform her formerly fragile image. It seems to embody her newly found determination. Now, this is something really, really small. It's actually the haircut I use for her. I really like it. I kind of, honestly, like that the style for Nell is kind of like gothic in a weird way. It's like gothic. It's like as gothic as they would allow it to. Same with her, like some of her her makeups. The makeup that I use for her all the time is Black Hush. I wish they would do like more. This is more like a personal thing for me. I wish they would do more like. I guess like intensive makeups, but that's more because that's just the style of makeup that I like when it comes to me goths. So I'm gonna look through journals and records, and I will come back shortly. Obviously, it's gonna take no time for you. This might take 10 minutes for me with some Nell journals. So I have found 2 recordings that are specifically from Nell's point of view. There is another alpha one, but I will not be playing. However, I will play these 2 ones from Nell, and then I will come back to you shortly, so enjoy listening.
This is the field report from the Ironheart retrieval operation. Would you like to read it?
No. I've already heard enough about it. I'll read the report later.
Then you must know how dangerous it was. What if we had lost someone?
Acquiring the Ironheart is of the utmost importance. You know that it might be the only way to end this wretched war.
You're right, it might be the only way. But that's not all the Magisters have said. They also admitted that using the Ironheart might make the dimensional wall unstable.
Do you want to just sit back and watch the enemy acquire all of the Ironhearts? If you don't know what the outcome of that is, I'll tell you. Extermination.
We have no info on what the Vulgus intend to do with the Ironhearts. Of course, I don't believe it's anything good.
That's exactly what I'm saying. Now do you understand that this was a necessary operation?
Yes, I understand. But please, can you hold off on planning any similar operations? We don't know yet what an Ironheart is made of, or what one is capable of.
And that's why we need to get our hands on one first and analyze it.
The phenomenon that occurred when Corel touched the Ironheart was definitely a void erosion. If that happens in the middle of Albion...
If we could end the war, it would be worth trying.
The Ironheart is currently in enemy hands, so we need to move cautiously. I am worried about Alpha. As a member of HQ, I'm supposed to provide Alpha with the right advice. He's clearly anxious, and I'm not sure if me confronting him is the best idea. It feels strange to even think this, but even the Magisters don't seem to know much about the Ironheart. As it stands, should I follow the Magister's advice and retrieve the Ironheart so we can close the dimensional wall? I don't disagree with Alpha that we need to retrieve the Ironheart first. If we don't act now, the enemy will take it, and then it might be too late to do anything. The biggest problem is that we just don't know. We have to move forward and make the most important decision in our history, and do it in the dark. But if there's no right answer, there's no wrong answer, right? That might be a stupid question. We'll have to do our best and face the consequences. That seems to be our only option right now.
So there we get a little bit more into Nell's mind after her conversation with Alpha and their discussion of the Ironhearts. Now, like I said, we actually do have more information as to what the Ironhearts are and why Corel wants them. However, again, that's Season 3 related content, and I don't want to say anything on that. I will make my own video for Season 3 related content eventually, and when that video comes out, I'll link it to this one, so you can, or I'll put it in the description of this one, so it might be worth checking if you're watching this later down the line. However, as of right now, I will not be covering that. But that covers everything for our beloved Nell. I really like Nell. I think she has the potential to be one of my favourite Descendants. I will always have a soft spot in my heart for Bunny, who I haven't done a video on yet somehow. But, yeah, I'll always have a soft spot for Bunny, and I love using Serena, mainly because of how unbelievably broken she is. She's just, like, my fix to everything. I do want to use Nell more. I've always been, like, interested in Nell. However, I think this game, in a different note, has a bit of a balancing problem, but I'm not here to talk about it today. That covers everything that I want to talk about with Nell. So I will see you in the next video. Thank you very much for watching, and if you made it this far, please comment your favourite part about her lore. Anyway, thank you for watching. See you in the next one.